Hi Year 4, how are you? Hope you had a lovely weekend. I was going to show you my cat then. I was going to introduce you to Cordelia. Hold on. Oh no, she's gone. Never mind. I'll maybe introduce you to her later on. I know it was a bit rainy at the weekend. Hopefully you managed to do some nice bike rides or something anyway. So we're back to week 2 of Beowulf. And I hope you got on all right last week. Gets a bit more exciting, a bit gruesome this week. So we left Beowulf in the Hall of Heorot, and the last thing we heard about was that the fact that the Geats were thinking that Beowulf would never see the next day or dawn or ever go back to see his family and friends again. Okay, so we're just going to read page and a half, not too much, and then we'll think about what you're going to do next. Although I'll give you a little clue, it's kind of like you're writing the next little bit of the story, just a paragraph writing what you think or where he's going to go next, and I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. Okay, you've got a picture here of, this is supposed to be Beowulf fighting Grendel up there, and he's got his arm. So, through the dark night, a darker shape slid, a sinister figure writhed down from the moors, over high shoulders, sopping tussocks, over sheep runs, over gurgling streams. It writhed towards the timbered hall, huge and hairy and slightly stooping. Its long arms swung loosely. One man was snoring, one mumbling, one coughing. All the Geats guarding Heorot had fallen asleep. All except one man watching. For a moment, the shape waited outside the hall. It cocked an ear, and it began to quiver. Its hair bristled. Then it grasped the great ring handle and swung open the door, the mouth of Heorot. It lunged out of the darkness and into the circle of dim candlelight. It took a long stride across the patterned floor. Through half-closed eyes, Beowulf was watching, and through barred teeth he breathed one word: Grendel. The name of the monster, the loathsome syllables. Grendel saw the knot of sleeping warriors, and his eyes shone with an unearthly light. He lurched towards the nearest man, a brave Geat called Leofric. He scooped him up and with one ghastly claw choked the scream in his throat. And then the monster ripped him apart and bit into his body, devoured huge pieces. Within 1 minute he had swallowed the whole man, even his feet and hands. Still the Geats slept. The air in Heorot was thick with sleep, thicker still with death and the stench of the monster. Grendel slobbered, spittle and blood. His first taste of flesh only made him more ravenous. He wheeled round towards Beowulf, stooped and reached out for him. And Beowulf leaped up and he stayed the monster's outstretched arm. Grendel grunted and pulled back. And at that sound, all the other Geats were instantly awake. They grabbed their swords, they backed off, and they shouted for Beowulf. Grendel tried to break free, but Beowulf held him fast. The monster snorted and tugged. He could feel his fingers cracking in the Geat's grip. And now the great room boomed. Clang and clatter. Silence as Beowulf and Grendel lurched to and fro in their deathly tug of war. Tables and mead benches were overturned. Grendel roared, snarled, and in the outbuildings Danes woke and they listened in the darkness. When the Geats saw that Grendel could not escape Beowulf's grip, they surrounded him and they slashed at him with their swords. Heorot flashed with battle lights. Those warriors did not know that no kind of weapon, not even the finest iron on earth, could wound their enemy. His skin was like old rind, tough and almost hard, and he had woven a secret spell against every kind of battle blade. Now Beowulf twisted Grendel's right arm behind his neck. He locked it and slowly turned it more, putting terrible pressure on Grendel's shoulder. The monster bellowed and dropped to one knee. He jerked, his whole body shuddered and trembled. With superhuman strength, he jerked again, and as he tried to escape Beowulf's grip, he jerked, and all at once his right shoulder ripped. A ghastly tearing of muscle and sinew and flesh, and a spurting of hot blood. The monster's arm came apart from his body. Grendel howled, and he staggered away from Beowulf, and he reeled out of the hall. That's as much as we're going to read today. I'm just going to show you a few of the little pictures in here. So this is him outside on the moors, and one of the swamps has bubbled, it says. I'll show you how much you can see that. The beast stomped towards Heorot, dripping with slime and hungry for blood. It says Beowulf crouched in the shadows, his steely eyes fixed on the murdering monster. And then Grendel reached for Leofric. And then it's got the fight with Beowulf ripping off Grendel's arm there from the shoulder. And then you can see Grendel walking back across the moors into the swamp. And it says in this book, Beowulf stood holding Grendel's dripping arm. He knew the monster would bleed to death. Grendel was defeated. So Beowulf's managed to almost kill him. They think that he's defeated. They've done it. Right. So, today's work. Just do a screen share. Okay. So, week 2, if you wanted to write a title, you might want to write that you're going to write a descriptive paragraph. And what I want you to think about is describing where Grendel goes, whether he's in the swamps or the moors, or does he go back to a cave to sort of slowly die. And I want you to try and really imagine that in your head, visualize it, describe what it looks like, what it sounds like, so what sounds he might be making, what smells there might be where he is, in the moors or in the woods, dark forest, or in a cave or in the swamp. He's badly injured, so describe how he's moving and what it looks like. Okay? So describing how he moves now that he's been badly injured, and he probably won't manage to get very far before he drops down and dies. You're doing a descriptive paragraph describing that scene. What I want you to also try and do is add in 2 fronted adverbials. So just to remind you what fronted adverbials are. so that they're at the start of the sentence. And you can see here there's a few examples, and then you always follow them with a comma. So you could have a fronted adverbial which is connected with time, like the first one on there, which says before sunrise, comma, and then something about what happens next. Or you could have something about how often something happens, the frequency. So you could have every so often, comma, or it can be describing the place. So it could be at the back of the cave, comma, or it could be the way something's done. It could be as quick as a flash, comma, or it could be how likely something is to happen. So almost certainly, comma, the deadly beast would die. Okay. And there's a little bit more about fronted adverbials here, and it says I space down the left-hand side there. I is for an ing word, shaking with fear, comma. These are different ways of remembering how to start all different fronted adverbials that you could use. So I space, and then the S is for simile, so it could start off with like a raging bull, comma, or a preposition like behind the clouds, comma, or you can start off with an adverb that they tend to end in ly, don't they? Anxiously, comma, Grendel began to whatever, or a conjunction like after he opened his eyes, comma, or an ed word like exhausted, comma, he fell to his feet or fell to the floor, or it can be any ed word like excited, or not that Grendel's going to be excited, but you know what I mean. So you've got a few words that might help you with spellings at the bottom there as well. I've put just a few because I think you'll manage today's paragraph. I've just put shrieked, staggered, Herot, the name of the hall where he's staggering out of, that he reels out of, Grendel, cave, moors, forest, and the Gaiats, just in case you need any of those words. Okay, so it's a paragraph of writing describing the scene of where Grendel goes now, and what he looks like, and what he sounds like, and everything that you can imagine. So picture it first in your head. You might want to do a quick sketch, visualize it first, draw it first if you want to, and then do a paragraph, lots of description. At the end of it, read it through and check you have used 2 fronted adverbials, and if not, squeeze a couple in. Okay, lovely. Okay, good luck with today's work. See you tomorrow. Bye.